maybe not.
And we are live. Look at that. Computer is working tonight. It's always a plus. At least
Yeah, that you were on Tim's show last night, and you were gone for like 10 minutes of it at the beginning.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was my internet dropped because that's what happens.
I really enjoyed watching Tim and Ethan talk without you. That was really nice. It was just flowed really well.
I'm sure Ethan will like that, but his name is Isaac.
Isaac, Ethan, whatever, man. Don't get.
But
sorry.
anyway, we have a guest here. We should probably talk about her.
We'll give it a shot for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe even her books and characters. Linda Stevens is here with us. L. Stevens. She has a nearly completed series. It's dark, but perhaps not grimdark. And yes, she is a grandmother. And she does like to kill fictional people.
And she will kick your ass.
We haven't asked about real life people, but we know fictional people. It's dangerous to be around her. So, Linda, how are you tonight?
I'm fine, doing really good. Excited to be here.
And tell us about the series.
Show that.
It's epic fantasy. I don't think of it as grimdark. Some people have called it that. I call it noble dark because there's a lot of hope at the core of it, but a lot of dark things happen around two warring families that have fought for generations to make their way in this secondary world that is the remnant of an original created world that was destroyed. So they're trying to keep this one alive. There are two god machines involved, possibly a third god somewhere. And they're fighting over that. And so the main characters, there's a young man named Aurelian who is, his bloodline is attached to one of the god machines, the Empire Builder, real god machine. And then there's Mark Frederick, the barbarian king, who somehow came to power in the Northern Kingdom where there's the wall, which is a time-spanning god machine. And they can use that wall to see what the future will be and to look into the past and find out how things happen. But it has limitations. But it's a very powerful god machine. So at this moment, these are the warring factions, and we're off and running. There are other forces come into conflict, Aurelian and Mark Frederick. But, oh, Joe, I know Joe. But they build a kind of a relationship and a union, but there are some very dark, very dangerous forces trying to tear apart what they're trying to build, and then also tear apart the world that's struggling to survive.
Do you have a copy of one of your book covers to show folks? Your latest, probably?
Which one do you want? I have them all. I got this one.
All right.
Through it.
That's the first one. It's called Sordanian because that's Aurelian's name. Aurelian Sordanian. And he's the main character through the most of the series. All of
you gave your characters first and last names?
Yes. I
Wow.
thought everyone did.
Oh, I don't.
We'll go
I
back
never give. I rarely give characters last names.
Yes. So yeah.
What's the second book?
The second book?
You got to go through the covers because I love the covers, so we got to see them all.
They are awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what happens after the horrible events of the first book. And so it becomes just as horrible in that book. And then you have, something more hopeful in the second stone. And new characters come in who maybe aren't dead, And then it goes to the fourth book, The God's Spear, which takes you to some people you've heard about throughout the series, the barbarians, supposedly, but maybe they're not barbaric. And look at that hill with the antlers. What's going on with that hill? And then the most recently published book was published in January, The Walled City.
Nice.
And that is there's Aurelian looking at the walled city. The wall is in that city, the time-spanning wall, and he's going to have to deal with it.
Is that the last book of your series?
Nope. The last one's coming in probably April. It's coming early next year. It's with the publisher. I have a small publisher, Forest Path Books, publishes these books. And then they have the manuscript. They have the final book. It's being edited. and it will come out in early next year.
Have you released the title?
The Real Lord.
The Real Lord. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone lives
So-
happily ever after, right?
This is going to be a 6-book series?
6 books. It is
Yeah,
a final book, so 6
I've
books.
counted that correctly. Right. But
Complete.
these aren't the only 6 books you've written.
Oh, no. I've written more books, but none of the others are available in print right now. Unless you find them in a used bookstore or something.
And what kind of, and how many other books are out there?
Well, there's my science fiction novel that was the first one. That's out there. And then there's a string of about 6 books that were erotic romances.
And those are under the L.L. Stevens name.
Nope, they were under a different name. Ellie Spencer. But they were erotic. I mean, they're kind of smutty. So, but
Yeah,
anyway, the publishers went under. The publisher went under. So I got the rights back, but they're not available right now. They're very good books, but they're not the same kind of book.
Yeah.
Right.
They're
the kind of books that sell a lot in today's market is what they are.
They can, they can be pretty fervent, those readers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have published a total of 15 books in there.
15. Okay.
Yeah.
And when was your science fiction? When did your first book, when did you bring that out?
That was in 1985.
85. Wow.
I told you I was a grandma. There you go.
Where were you in 85, Mike?
I graduated 8th grade in 85.
Yeah, I was a junior/senior in high school.
Yeah. I was a young writer then, but I was also a young mother. But that was when the first one was published.
Yeah, why does that not surprise me in the slightest?
But I've always written ever since I was a teenager. I wrote. I first started this series that I'm publishing now when I was a teenager. My first book published was written on a dare from my sister, who said, "You can write something like one of those other authors." I said, "I'll write this book." And I wrote it, and I sent it off to Donald Wollheim Publishers, and they published it. But, life is funny, and I just love writing. I love telling stories. I love entertaining people. I hope my books are entertaining. Nothing makes me happier than to hear that somebody enjoyed one of my books.
Yeah, that is nice on the odd occasion, right, Mike? I mean, you've had people come up and say, "You're my favorite author ever."
Yeah.
I've had people say that. Isn't that fun when they do that? Isn't that fun? Yeah.
So I'll tell you the story real quick. I had a person do that. It's like, "Oh my God, you're my favorite author ever." I said, "Oh, you need to find better authors." First thing came out of my mouth.
You need to read more, kid.
Oh dear.
So
I insult my readers, but okay.
Mike doesn't take a compliment well.
No. I'm 12 years at Catholic school. You compliment me, I get all kinds of weirded out. You're disappointed in me. That's the warm comfort zone there. I'm like, "Oh, thank you. You're disappointed. Wonderful. I feel comfortable now." So yeah.
So, Linda, you are one of the few people that we've had on the show over the last couple of years who has attained that thing that most of the rest of us deny we actually want, but deep down in our grim little hearts we do, and that is a publisher. So you can just write and get these wonderful covers and all that other stuff, and you don't have to deal with all of that. So how did you get to that point where you got a publisher, and how is that experience working for you?
Well, this is not a big publisher. Remember, this is not, Macmillan or Penguin or any of the big ones like Tor. She's a small publisher. What happened is I tried for years to get Sordanian published by approaching agents. You needed an agent to get to a publisher, They won't look at it unless there's an agent. So I did that. And it was not a good process. It was brutal. And I gave up. And then I'd start again saying, make it better. I put the book through workshops. I put it through online writers workshop. I had people like Bradley Boudeleau and Aliette de Bodard vet the book. I have notes, beta readers who are now major published authors, and still agents said it's too long. You have to cut it in half. It's too long. I can't do anything. Your series is too ambitious. So I gave up and I started writing other types of things, but I never gave up on this series. Never, never, never. But one of the people I showed it to said, I'm starting a little publishing company. I'd like to publish your books. You let me. Would I let her? Yeah. Of course.
I think we can arrange that.
Yes.
Let me think about it.
So she came to me and said she wanted to give it a shot. And would I work with her? I said, yes, I'll do whatever you want in terms of writing, editing, whatever. She's been an excellent, excellent publisher. The books look beautiful. I mean, people have said that. They look through and say, it's all formatted beautifully. It's spaced. Everything's good. I get 3 passes of edits. I get a copy edit. These books are clean, and they're not perfect. I find a typo in every book, but they're really well done. She's done a beautiful job for me. I'm dedicating the last book to her. She might see this and know it was supposed to be a surprise, but it's like, that's how that happened. I was lucky in the sense that I had showed the book Sordanian around, and and she read the whole series. She said, I like that. Is there more? I said, yeah, here, read the rest. You know, that's what authors do with each other. You like it? Here, read more. And so she said she wanted to publish the series, and I said, yes.
When did you start that process of looking for an agent?
That started in the 1990s because there was a gap between my first book and the later ones because of a divorce and personal, anyway, lots of reasons. So I started saying, I think I can get this published. This is really good. I showed it to a few people, like my sister. She said it was good. So I started workshopping it and showing it to people, sending it to agents, getting shot down, you know. But the workshopping really helped. A lot of good eyes got on it. Like I said, seriously interested other authors and other people who work in this industry saw it. So that's how it attracted the attention of somebody who was willing to publish it.
Not to belabor a point, but that's what we do. So when you started doing that, was that pre-email?
That was pre-email. I had to make photocopies and buy boxes and send it.
It's like stuff envelopes and put on stamps and then wait.
And then wait, and they'd throw it away. All you'd do is put an envelope with a stamp on it and your address, and they'd tell you, if you were lucky, they would send that back and tell you if they liked it or not. Mostly you never heard from them and you wasted a lot of paper. That's what happened.
Yeah. So did you get any responses from people that way?
Oh, yeah. I got mostly like, this is too ambitious. I don't think I can hawk it. This is too long. Can you cut off 80,000 words? It ended up being 190,000 words. But I actually did try to cut it. I tried to cut it in half and make it 2 books. And that didn't get a better reception either. And so then it turned to where you suggested it started becoming email submissions. And I even sent, do you remember the query people? You'd send them your query and then they'd respond to whether they liked your query or not, you know, on blogs and stuff. I even got mocked publicly on a blog for my query. It was very embarrassing and painful. But I did all of that trying to find an agent. I must have approached maybe 100. And I say only 100 because after about 10 or 20 of them, I would give up for a while. And I'd work on the book, and then I'd do it again, you know. Yeah. So every few years, I'd send it out again.
And I have to belabor another point, and this is really to highlight the stick-to-itiveness of what you've done. The first books and the first time you were doing all that and saying, oh, I'll cut this and make it into 2 books, whatever. Were you doing that on a typewriter?
The first drafts of the books, I still have them. Some of these books, there are first drafts that are typed in. I got a TRS-80 in 1994.
So slower than a typewriter.
Snap. It had 48K memory. It was a real cutting edge machine.
But But when you pushed a letter, it would take like a half a second for it to actually
It would.
show up on the screen. Yeah. So
And
you
then
were
you-
typing and then you'd wait as your thing just started
Yes,
going across.
Pure City.
So,
Word perfect. No, scripts it first. Later word perfect. And I
So-
had to do a dot matrix printer and then rip apart each sheet.
Yeah, all right.
Remember?
So-
that?
when you had to save your work, what format did you save it on?
5 and an
What-
8.
Big,
Oh.
big floppies, big floppies.
Actual floppy.
And it was little floppies. I still have all the floppies, but they're probably unreadable. I made paper copies every time. I have all the paper copies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of versions. A lot of versions.
When we were growing up, we had a Commodore 64 and to save it, you had to do it on a cassette tape.
Oh, I never did that. No,
That was brutal.
I never had a cassette tape.
It's
Yeah.
funny, you find some young kids now, and if you show them a 3.5-inch floppy disk, they say, "Why do you have a copy of the save symbol, or the save icon?"
Yeah.
It's like, never mind.
Oh, it was the dark ages. But I did do it on all the various tech available at the time.
But I guess my point there is that took a lot of effort to do that.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, oh, okay, you want me to delete something or cut this into 2 books? Yeah, okay. You don't have to really retype anything except for the new stuff that you want.
Yeah.
And you can move it all around quite easily.
Oh, and I'm dreadfully afraid they'll die. They're living in a cloud. I asked my son, what is the cloud? Where is the cloud? He's a software engineer.
The cloud is somebody else's hard drive.
He's like, well, it's a server somewhere. I said, where? And it's like, I don't know where my book lives. So I keep emailing it to myself. That way I have a copy in case my computer dies, because that's where it's living right now. I used
Speaking of living,
I don't do that as much anymore.
where do you live now?
Philadelphia,
And where are you from?
Wisconsin.
So how does a near Canadian, kind Midwestern Wisconsinite, how do people look at you funny in Philly, the quote unquote city of brotherly love?
No, not really. They think I'm a little naive and simple, maybe. But Wisconsin people are nice, but they don't tell you what they really think. Philadelphia people are nice, but they do tell you exactly what they think. And I came here.
Hand gestures.
Whoa, yeah, it was very strange because I grew up with like everything's nice and sunny, and you just don't tell people what you really think because it might offend them or something. Oh no, I come down here, they're just right out there. And I married into a big Italian family, and it's like they're different too from my family. So it was fun. It's fun. They're very exuberant. They love life. It's fantastic.
Must have been a hell of a wedding. What the hell is Luke Fisk?
We got married on a cruise ship. It was great.
Oh,
I liked it. It was fun. People still talk about that wedding.
EL, nicely done. All right.
And we went to school with them, by the way. We're that old.
Oh, wow. There you go. Cain and Abel.
So, what did you grow up reading? I mean, what was your kind of go-to that got you into sci-fi and fantasy and all that? I won't ask what you read to get you into the other stuff, but
Well, when I was a child, little girl, 9 years old or so, I loved exotic books about horses. The Black Stallion, King of the Wind. They took place in other cultures, but they had horses. And I just was a voracious reader. So I was in the 9th grade, a teacher gave me a copy of The Fellowship of the Ring, and she said, you should read this. I think you'll like it. That was my 9th grade teacher in El Paso. I was living in El Paso at the time. And I said, okay. My first time trying to read it, it didn't work. The second time it did, and I was captivated. And I got the second book and the third book, and I started reading more fantasy. And that's when I started reading the fantasies of Robert Burnett Swan, Tanith Lee, a lot of the other people, Marion Zimmer Bradley. Darkover books, maybe science fiction, but they're really fantasy. And I just, as a young mother, I voraciously read. And I continued to write my books they influenced them tremendously, what I'm writing. I mean, what I wrote was influenced by all these things I read. Richard Adams and Watership Down and Shardik, So I read a lot. I just love reading. I'm a fast reader. And it was great. I just, like I said, I find so much joy and pleasure in writing that I just keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
So what did you first give your kids to read? What was their kind of teething into the genre?
Well, Berenstain Bears mostly, but I always had books around for them to read, and I dragged them into bookstores. I mean, this was when they had malls. Remember, malls were big. Anyway, I dragged the kids into the Walden books with me. And Walden books. There's Mom's book. Here, what do you want to read? Let's buy you some books. And so that was a lot of fun. They just chose what they wanted to read. They read various things. Some of them read fantasy. Some of them read books about cats.
How many do you have?
3.
Oh, okay. All right.
3 sons.
Okay.
Only sons. Yeah.
That's good genetics right there. Well done.
But they read my books too. I mean, I had all kinds of books. I didn't read just fantasy and science fiction, so they read whatever I had that they wanted to read.
Did they read all your books?
They have. Not all of the series. One son is on the 3rd book. My brothers read all 5 books. And one son is on the 2nd book. And I'm not sure the other son has read any of them, but that's okay. His son, my grandson, is reading the 1st book now. He's 13.
I mean, it's pretty cool for it's like, oh, Grandma wrote a book.
That's okay.
And she's killing people.
I am. I kill people. He thought that was fascinating. He wants to get to the killing part. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we talked about this on our last show. So I have to ask you, did you ever see Bambi versus Godzilla, the little cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was great. Love that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Mike. So how many states have you lived in, Linda?
Other
than Denial and Panic and, those ones?
16, 17. Yeah.
Seriously? 16 or 17? Followed
military contracts.
Oh, okay.
So I never spent more than 2 years in the same school, ever.
Well,
so I jumped around.
That's a good education for writing then.
And then I settled down. I ended up back in Wisconsin. I lived in the Milwaukee area. And that's where I got a college degree. I got a job. Found my first husband and had the children. And that's where I wrote the first books in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm.
With a big old Shinerbach or whatever it was that they made in Milwaukee right there.
Milwaukee's great.
Milwaukee's best. Whatever Laverne and Shirley were cranking out there at the Schlitz or
Happy Days. Yeah.
Yeah. And cheese curd. Had to have cheese curds, right?
Had cheese heads. Hey, you can buy those in the airport.
You have traveled beyond moving to nearly every state.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, El. It was just a name that came to me. Give me a break. Let me be, man.
I've lived in other countries.
So give us the world tour. Where has Stevens been?
Any except Bolivia. I lived in Bolivia. I passed through like Mexico, and I traveled to other countries. Bolivia I lived in because my first husband was from there, and so I got to spend time there with his family. I got to know the culture. I got to know the people, and anybody who's read The Second Stone, and some people have, you'll recognize parts of Bolivia in The Second Stone. I mean, I really found the geography is fascinating and gorgeous. The history is brilliant. And the people I found them very nice and very interesting people. The Aymara people of Bolivia have a different sense of time. The way they keep track of time is very different from the way we do, and the way they speak and the way they see the world. I tried to capture that in one of the characters in The Second Stone. But I just liked it, and I think it's valuable and world expanding to go to other places and see other cultures and ways of life. That humans are very adaptable and interesting, and I'd like to know more of them. I would.
How does their reaction to time differ than ours from ours?
They see time as something you've already gone through. We see it as looking ahead. You're looking ahead into time. They see it as time is behind you. And so what you see is the past, as according to them. And what you don't see is coming up on you, is the future. It's coming up behind you.
It's probably no coincidence that Bolivia is well known for cocaine production.
Ah, it does.
That just seems very odd. I mean,
In Bolivia, they're quite correct that there would not be cocaine production if it wasn't for people buying it.
that's fair.
The coca leaf is native to the region, and the native people have used it ritually, and also it's a very tough climate to live in on the Altiplano because it's so high. It's like living on top of Pikes Peak. Everyone there. So when they chew the leaves, and they chew them, they don't make cocaine powder and take cocaine. They chew these leaves. It gives them more energy. They're not hungry. When it's true, cocaine kills appetite. So not cocaine, coca leaves. If you chew them, it kills the appetite, and they get more energy. And it's easier for them to survive in this very tough climate that they live in. So it's like, well, yeah, it's easy to come to Bolivia and say, hey, you should just stop growing those leaves. Why? Just because we can't control ourselves, you know?
Right.
Like, very delicate topic still. Yeah. Yeah. I see their point of view. I really do.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's like any, indigenous people that use something
Mhm.
for a very specific reason, and then we come along and, use it for very, very different reasons.
Very different reasons, and
Yeah.
we're the ones getting rich, not them.
Yeah, well, that's always the way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a testy subject. But I really found it interesting to have that perspective on it.
And you've done a little hiking around the area. Well, not the area. I mean, South America area, I guess.
A little bit, to some of the ruins and to some of the jungle areas. Even, there's jungles on the other side of the mountains. It's all jungle. It's the beginnings of the Amazon. It's called the Yungas in Bolivia, but it's subtropical. They've got Inca ruins that are fascinating. How did they build those walls? No more. How did they do that? It's fascinating.
I saw a Mexican comedian once saying it's kind of funny that they look at the pyramids in Egypt and they say, "Oh, who built these?" Blah blah blah. He says, "But we have pyramids in Mexico, and nobody asks who built those." We all know who built those.
I guess we think we know. I don't know. They were
somebody else's joke, not mine. I don't want letters.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
Comment if you want, but
It's true. There's some stuff there. It's like, wow, yeah.
So I mean, but you've done some hiking in the Andes.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time?
It's difficult because you can't breathe.
Yeah.
You acclimate after a few weeks, but at first it's tough. Yeah.
I mean, were you going out on like day hikes, or were you out there for a long time?
Oh no, I would only hike around with family members to see the local area, that type of thing.
But does it still kind of give you a little bit of
something? I was camping. I wasn't camping now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Still probably gives you a little something to draw on when you're writing fantasy and people are hiking, hither and yon through usually woods or whatever.
Oh, I've always loved landscapes. The Andes are spectacular. Anyone who has a chance should go and visit the Andes and see some of the sites and ruins there. They're fantastic. I've lived in lots of different climates because my father would drag us around. I mean, California is very different from Massachusetts, and I've immortalized both in my books. And I've traveled with a cruise ship to Canada. I mean, northern Canada, the East Coast. and also to the Caribbean and the beautiful water and beautiful climate. And I gave Sordan that climate. And, it's nice to just see all the prairies. They're different from the deserts, or different from the forests. I just love to see all of them. And I think that for world building purposes, an author should travel around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my travel's been mostly to like sand.
Sand is useful.
If there's a beach attached to the sand, it's great.
I like beaches, yes.
It's just sand.
And it gets in everything. We vacation at the shore. I just got back a week ago from a vacation at the shore with the big Italian family. Sand comes back with you. There's nothing you can do. Sand gets in your shoes, it gets in your hair, it gets in your teeth, it gets everywhere. Bring it back.
So you can make pearls, right?
If only I were an oyster.
So I want to ask, have you ever been to New Mexico?
Yes. My
Because
dad did White Sands Missile Range.
I went there last year, and my God, that is low-key gorgeous. I mean, you never hear about it, but oh my God.
Yeah.
I came back, it's like, I have to write a series now that takes place here. Yeah.
It is. El Paso, of course, is right in the corner of Texas that butts up on New Mexico. So it's all out of New Mexico, Alamogordo, Albuquerque, yeah.
Yeah, I flew in El Paso, so yeah.
Yeah.
Got stopped by the Border Patrol. It was kind of fun.
Oh, oh no, they're doing that in New Mexico?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gee.
Well, you do look kind of sus, Mike.
Yeah, clearly. I'm from the southern border. Yeah, this clearly I have a pigmentation for that.
No, you just kind of look sus. You kind of got that, You're a chemist? Oh, I don't know. Step out of the car.
Yeah.
Chemist in New Mexico.
Instantly suspicious.
See, hey, there's a reference I got.
Wow. We found the one. Were there any TV shows growing up or anything that kind of pushed you along your sci-fi path?
Yes. The Rat Patrol. Nobody will remember it but me, probably. But that one definitely did, because of a certain character on the show. Again, I always liked shows with horses. I loved Westerns. There's a certain elegance to the justice in the Wild West type themes. But I never was a huge watcher of TV shows. So I can't say too many fantasy TV shows have influenced me at all.
Yeah.
No.
That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
So what do you read now?
Oh, everything I can. I've been reading some of my fellow authors. I recently have read all of A.J. Calvin's books, and I am reading those of I've read Michael Roberti, Thomas Riley. What's his last name? I can't remember his name. I have his books. I'm reading those. I read Dungeon Crawler Carl because everybody was talking about it, and I finally got in. I said, I have to see what that's about. I mean, it sounds like it could be fun, but it could be really strange. And it was. It's just not my type of thing, but it was very fun. And so I read that. And then I've got some nonfiction that I read for research purposes. I have a book called Oathbreakers, which is about the Carolingian kings of France, how that played out. I always like to see family dynamics in politics. And
I haven't read it, but it sounds familiar. Who wrote that?
Oh, I'd have to go pull the book and look.
Okay.
I don't recall. I don't recall.
That's all right. I have Google.
Mike, it's called
Mike. Your turn.
Okay, so while we're waiting, Linda, I would recommend for you Heliotrope by Palmer Pickering.
Yes, I've heard about that book. It's on my should get to it eventually, Liz. Yes.
Or if you want to do another lit RPG that she's written, because she writes epic fantasy and she writes lit RPG and she writes sci-fi, she does everything. Darktown, the main character is a 14-year-old girl.
Oh, that could be.
And this is not, I'm amazed because I'm not into this, lit RPG is not my thing. And a 14-year-old girl, it's hard to, but phenomenal writing. Anything she writes is fantastic. So, yeah.
And I also have, next on my list is Mr. Burns' Wistful Ascending. That sounds like something I would enjoy, and I've had it sitting on the side. Like I said, I was writing a lot this year with the editing and stuff, but now that I have a break, I want to read that too.
It is amazing. If you like puns and you like dad jokes, you will be laughing out loud.
Really? Sometimes, sir? Oh my God. Okay.
So
I think I have more readers for him. Okay. The big Italian family likes certain types of books, and
there you go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cena has it. Are any of your books on audiobook?
No, I would like to. They're expensive to produce.
Yeah.
I would like to try to do that. I don't know. I guess I might someday have to pop myself for it. I don't know, but maybe we'll try to get it done through Kickstarter or something.
I was going to say, do you have the rights to that, or does your publisher have the rights? Or
Publisher and I have some. She has the rights, but I get, of course, a percentage of all
right.
Stuff. Right. She has to be part of the package. Yes.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say, I think Tantor will do it's free, but they get 50% of all the sales. So if you want to, you're giving up sales, but you're also getting it for free. So
it's hard to say. People really like it. And I know I have some friends who say, oh, when it's an audiobook, I'll read it, But yeah, I'm not sure how many they actually sell. I'd have to talk to some of my fellow authors and find out how that worked out with them.
As someone who spends, a lot of time in a car on trips of several hours or more, and doesn't read nearly as much as I should, I think audiobooks are just the best.
A lot of people just swear by them. I've never even listened to a single audiobook.
Oh, wow.
I haven't. Well, I can't say that. I listened to Warren Buffett. I got his book, an audiobook, and listened to that when I was going back and forth to the airport as my job. But I haven't listened to a fiction audiobook, and probably should.
So much depends.
But it has to be a human actor. I'm not going to get any voice.
So much depends on the narrator.
Mm-hmm.
There are mediocre books that are much better because of a really good narrator, and vice versa. I
believe that. Yeah.
My wife listens to books and she loves the narrator, and I hear it in the background. It's like, how do you listen to that? That would just, I can't. Dan Brokaw, right? Had a very nice news voice, and he wrote a book 10, 15 years ago, whatever it was. And I was driving across the country. I said, I'll play this. It's a nonfiction book. And it was unlistenable.
Oh,
it was like he was reading the news, very kind of blah, 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 blah,
you can't go to sleep when you're driving. No.
It was just horrible, so
yeah. Like, oh. Sounds bad. Yeah.
By that point he didn't care because he had my money. So, but still.
There you go.
Well, he had a name too. See, that's the other thing. I could produce an audiobook, but nobody knows me. And nobody knows the series, really. It's got a small, rabid fan base that I truly appreciate. With the bottom of my heart, I do. But I'm not sure enough people would buy my book to make it worthwhile, But if you're Dan Rather, Tom Brokaw, if you're Brandon Sanderson, people are buying those things like crazy. So, that's somebody who can definitely sell enough audiobooks. It's an interesting world out there for small, self-published or indie published.
Right. Well, welcome to the heart of the matter for the indie publishers.
Yeah.
I've got to get my cover, and I've got to get my editor, and do I want to do this other thing, and do I want to eat tonight or pay rent, or
Oh,
have heat in the house.
yeah, it's expensive. I don't think I mean, I know a lot of readers truly appreciate the effort we put into making these books, but a lot maybe don't understand how much it costs in time and effort and money to put out a good book. And
And you and John Four here have just said something. Tom Brokaw's. It was Tom Brokaw, not Dan Rather. I'm pretty sure.
okay,
I don't know. One of those two dudes, but it was awful. So it
they
doesn't
were
matter.
very popular.
The book wasn't awful. The reading of it was awful.
Yeah.
So I will tell you the thing that always drives me, I can't believe is true, but they said Edgar Allan Poe, they think he ended up losing money overall on all the things that he published. So
Yeah.
So
And he
he was
did.
a successful author, and he maybe broke even. So yeah, keep that in mind if you're going to start this, kids.
Yeah, definitely. I spend more money on commissioning art and sending out free books to people, and it costs me money to send out the free books.
Yeah.
You don't send ebooks?
I will, always, whenever, but some people want a paper book, and I like them, so I send them a paper
Oh,
book.
okay. I was gonna say if they like a paper book, they can buy a paper book.
I do
we had
giveaways. I do giveaways, trying to.
we had this discussion today at work. When somebody hands you a free beer, you don't complain that it's a light beer, right? You just drink it and say thank you.
I've never had anyone complain. No, I
But-
offer. I put up giveaways. You know, I had to stop doing international giveaways because that got way too crazy expensive.
Mike has a
But I
story
still
for
like
you.
to give away in the United States. I'll give away books every so often and say, "Hey, you want a book?" And so I do those.
So I had a person who contacted me and it's like, Mike, I want all 4 of your books in hardback. And I'm like, you know what? That's great. I'll pay for shipping. Here's the price. And she goes, great. I'm in the Netherlands.
How much did that cost you?
So I was charging $20 for my hardback. So she paid the $80 and I paid $88 for shipping.
Mhm.
And actually, the worst part I think about this is when it arrived, she had to pay taxes on it and she had to pay another $53. So yeah, it cost her $133. It cost me $88, and 4 books went from one civilized country to another. Yeah. So now I'm like, where are you at before I offer to pay for shipping?
I ask that too, because similar things have happened, and they'll say, "Oh, you have to send in the customs,
Yeah.
or you have to send in the invoice." They're my books. I don't have an invoice for them.
Right.
So anyway, it's like, yeah, it can get kind of weird when you're dealing with other countries. And it's sad because I will say, I think I don't track people, I don't catalog my readers, but I think I have more readers in the rest of the world than in the United States. I really do think so. Some of the most fervent, vocal, joyous fans are any country but here. And it's like very amazing. It's like I never thought that people that far away would ever read my work.
Are
But
they English speaking people?
well, they all speak English, I assume, because the book is English and it's not in
Right.
any language.
But yeah, I'm just wondering if if the majority of your readers are in Germany, have you
Well, they're
ever
not all in England or Ireland. They
Okay.
tend to be in Spain and Portugal and in Africa and in
have
India.
you considered having it translated?
Well, that costs money again.
Yeah, sure.
I keep hoping some. I'm praying.
We had someone pop on here from Portugal early
Yes,
on.
I know that reader. He's wonderful.
So Linda, I have to tell you the obvious thing here that you're missing.
What?
You have a big Italian family.
Yeah.
Surely that they have relatives in Italy. Why are you not pushing this book in Italy? And you're on a signing
They
tour.
haven't been in this country for 2 generations, so I'm not sure what's left in Italy.
That's okay. Go to Italy. Go on a signing tour. It's all tax deductible.
Yeah.
And
Or get
wine
them to
is
translate your books for you.
Yeah. I think you're missing the boat here.
Well,
You need to do a signing in Italy.
I'll do a signing in Venice. I've always wanted to see Venice.
There you go.
Hi,
Yeah.
John. I don't know how to say your name. I'm saying it the way I think it is.
Your publisher will pick that up, right?
Oh, I wish.
Joao, are you from mainland Portugal or the islands? Let's see if he writes back here.
Like there may be a lag or something.
So while we're waiting, I'm going to start getting my dice ready.
Okay.
Okay.
I already warned you what's coming.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm just typing here. 1 sec. Sorry. I just have
Yes,
to.
I am game for anything. I come from a board gaming family also.
Well, you've never seen board gaming like Mike,
Okay.
because Mike.
D&D before.
Hmm?
Have you played D&D before?
You would think from Wisconsin I would, since it originated there. I
Did
did
it?
not until I married into the board gaming family.
Dungeon comic book store, bro.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
No, I mean Lake Geneva, Wisconsin is where D&D started. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Gary Gygax.
I knew that.
Yep.
I am a nerd enough to know the guy's name, but I
Yeah.
did not know it was in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Linda, we need a character from your series who's going to be put through the ringer.
Mhm. I have been, let's see, who would be good? Somebody clever? Somebody fun? Maybe somebody fun.
Do you have someone stupid?
Oh, he's not stupid, but he's fun.
Oh, okay. Fun is
You want
the next
stupid?
best
I
thing.
do have stupid. I can give you Stefan.
No,
He's
your choice. It's the author's choice. They have to still be alive.
I'm giving you Endelaran.
Andalaran.
Endelaran.
Okay.
And what is Endelaran like?
He's the king of Ardain. He's short. He has a big nose, lots of teeth, and he's very witty and jumps around a lot and tends to show up in all the right places at the right time, which we're not sure how he does that.
Okay. So
You've never had a king before.
I know.
He's a king.
And
He's kind of the weirdest king anybody ever saw.
And for the Rabbit fans here, I told Linda before we came here that this is not canon. So if he should die, that doesn't mean that book 6 is canceled.
Hold on, Mike. Hold on. For the fans of LL here, please go and subscribe to the channel and like it, or Mike will kill Endelaran.
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
I'm not sure readers will care. I bet some people find him annoying.
Okay, so Andalaran has been transported to an alternate universe.
Okay.
So that's why it doesn't affect your timeline at all. He doesn't get to take any weapons or anything like that with him. He's in a tunic. Yeah, it's a family show. But he has, what's your favorite color?
Aqua.
So he is transported to a fantasy land that I'll get to in a second, but he has a flask full of effervescent aqua liquid.
Okay.
And he doesn't know what it does, but he is guaranteed it is 100% effective whether he uses it or if he uses it on an adversary.
Whatever it does. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, he cannot take his 1,000 wives. So he has been transported to 13. What is 13? To a deep wood sanctuary. Gigantic mushrooms form natural canopies, and phosphorescent fungi light narrow paths winding between ancient stone carvings. A gentle hum of wildlife murmurs fill the cool, damp air. Hidden in the roots of ancient trees are clusters of sapphire-studded idols, which lay entangled with vines, protected by jade-horned stags that vanish if approached too quickly. And this is all Chat GPT, so if it sounds heavy on the adjectives, you know why.
Okay.
So anyway, that is where he's gone. He is in the Deepwood Sanctuary. He has an effervescent aqua lotion or potion that is 100% effective at whatever it is it does. And now he gets a choice. He can have a common item and he will face a common animal, or he can choose a weapon and he will face a fantasy creature. Which does he choose?
Oh, he takes a weapon and a fantasy creature.
Okay.
He's unafraid.
So you got number 3 is the okay, interesting. So he has what is 16 is he has a 7-foot long spear.
Okay.
You said he's short, right? So he's like
Yeah.
5 feet something, and he has a
Yeah.
spear, yeah.
That's pretty much
Okay. Let me go here, and he is facing 7. What is 7? He is facing a spectral wraith.
Ooh, a spectral wraith. Okay.
So he's looking at the glowing mushrooms and the fungi growing on the mushrooms.
And
He's
the
looking at
sapphires, right?
he's looking at the idols with the sapphire eyes. He's seen a couple stags, but he went to them and they disappeared. And then he sees there's this spectral wraith. It looks like a woman in tattered clothes, and he kind of takes a couple steps towards it. It does not disappear. It just turns and looks at him with his dead, soulless eyes. What happens next?
Endelern assumes this is a potential future wife. So, plus there are sapphires in the area, and he's attracted to gems. If perhaps the potion, which may bring her to life and therefore in a better condition to be a wife, he's very charming, he can give her some sapphires. So he's going to use the potion on her.
On himself or on the wraith?
Oh, on her. He trusts himself.
Oh, okay, so it is the elixir of vitality.
Oh.
It instantly restores health and increases stamina for 1 hour.
Okay, she gets it.
So
Here.
So we have a former D&D dungeon master here. So Ro, does she become living because of this, or
No.
okay?
Oh, how sad. Okay.
So how does the potion of vitality affect the wraith? Does she get bigger? Does her eyes get darker? And
I don't think it would, maybe. But if you have to have some kind of impact, it's a mild upper.
So he throws it and it just goes straight through the wraith and then lands on the forest, and the mushrooms grow a little taller behind her. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I said at all. I said it would probably just act like a mild stimulant.
Okay, so now she is energized.
Okay.
She's still undead, but she's energized somehow.
Okay, Endelern takes this as encouraging. And so he races around, goes to the statue, pries out a sapphire with his spear, and hands it to her.
Walks right up to the wraith, does he?
Oh, yes, he's
outstanding.
He's fearless.
Mike, give us your dice cam.
Yep.
It's going to be so ugly. I guess even wraiths could be surprised, and anything higher than an 8 will just kind of dumbfound the wraith for a second.
10. Look at that.
God. Okay.
The wraith is dumbfounded.
So you're handing it to her.
Well, this is interesting.
Reaches up a hand but doesn't take it, but she also doesn't kill you, so that's good.
Oh, okay. What happens next? Is that up to me?
That's up to you.
Oh. Up to you. Well, since she's dumbfounded for a moment, Endelern kisses her. And that is persuasive of perhaps becoming one of his wives.
Perhaps becoming what?
One of his wives. He collects wives. He has hundreds.
So he doesn't even say hello. He just walks right up and kisses her.
He walks. Yeah, he says, lovely to meet you. I think you're the most beautiful creature I've ever seen, and I would like to take you back to Ardane with me as one of my wives.
All right.
Now, I don't know how he's going to get back, but that's a different story. Yeah.
I'm going to play this kind of goofy. Mike, give me a 10 or better.
7.
Oh, not quite.
Okay. She thinks better of slapping him. Have you ever seen Bugs Bunny when he's in full drag, and he just kind of turns around and bats his eyes all kind of coquettishly?
Uh-huh.
The wraith does that.
Oh dear. And Delaran is encouraged and ponders how best to turn her into a living creature. There apparently are mushrooms around.
Yes.
How did this wraith become a wraith? This is very curious, but he doesn't understand, and so he can't do that. So, there are some interesting possibilities here. And Delaran takes her by the hand, leads her over to some mushrooms. I think these are big mushrooms, yes?
Yes, they're tree size.
Yeah, he can't quite sit on any, but he can cut out a piece. And he's willing to try taking a bite of that mushroom and offers her a bite.
Okay, just took a bite of a mushroom in the forest.
Oh, yeah, it could be totally deadly.
Yeah, you got a D6, Mike?
Yeah, somewhere.
Uh,
D8.
an odd number is a poisonous mushroom, and an even number is not a poisonous mushroom.
6.
But that's a D8. I want a D6.
That's a D6.
You know, they do turn up sixes sometimes.
Is
And
it?
Delaran's a very lucky person.
Oh, I wanted an odd number. Okay.
You can make it poisonous if you want to.
That's all right. She can't eat it, obviously. I mean, she like passes her hand through it.
Poor thing.
And she's starting to shimmer a little bit around the edges, but you're not sure what that's all about.
I think that'd be encouragement, wouldn't it? For
And Delaran's taking that as a sign of encouragement.
He can take that however he wants.
But it wasn't poisonous to him, which is interesting.
Not yet.
Not yet. Perhaps it gave him super sex appeal or something. It didn't do anything to his spear, or did it? You know, cutting into a mushroom in a forest that's magical could do something to the spear tip.
Mike, give me a D20, 8 or better.
8 or better, you say?
Mm-hmm.
How about a 4?
Oh, no.
Killing me, Smalls. Absolutely killing me. All right, never mind.
What?
It's not a psychotropic mushroom either.
Oh, well, that's probably a good thing. Okay.
For you, it's a good thing. I was really looking forward to where I had this going. Okay.
So
she's starting to back away a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and Delaran decides he can still work some persuasion, perhaps someday. He says, I've never met a woman quite like you. If you come with me, we can do wonderful things in the world. You don't have to be stuck in this forest waiting for passers-by. You'll always have me at hand. I have a spear. I have wits. Yes, and he would try to take an aphrodisiac and sell it, but it wasn't apparently. So
you think you see her raise a corporeal eyebrow. Not corporeal, she's not corporeal, sorry. And she does speak, and she asks if you will take her somewhere where there are lots of people.
He will take her to his pavilions in Ardain, where he has many wives. Yes, he will take her where there's lots of people. And if he wants men, he can take her to a place where there's lots of men too. But, you know, he'd like to maybe get to know her better. So
she smiles.
He's a very, you know, woman-friendly guy.
She says, you will get to know me a lot better.
I bet she means that. And he says, and you'll get to know me a lot better too.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And to learn has secrets, by the way. Secrets. Mm-hmm.
That's fine. She's okay with that.
She's okay with that. All right. And he's okay with her.
So how do we leave?
Well, that's a question. Since he was teleported.
Mike, this is on you.
Yep, I'm looking at the Deepwood Sanctuary here.
He does have a spear. Maybe he can do something with that.
She tells him to follow the Jadehorn stags. and the path will reveal itself.
Okay.
Okay.
And he lopes very well. He's faster moving than he might look like.
And she runs right up to him and puts her arm around his and
Off they
takes
go.
off.
I may have to work that into the book.
Oh no, she's going to kill everybody when she gets back to your kingdom.
Oh, what a sad thing. Well,
Well, maybe not, because she's writing it, not you.
I'm saying in this scenario, she's just looking for a way out of this place so she can go on a rampage.
yeah, it does sound like she's a little
She
too
found her huckleberry.
other people. Yes.
Okay. So,
Just lonely.
Had you rolled the odd number for the mushrooms, I was going to kill him, and then he would have become a wraith as well,
Oh,
and then they could go off wherever.
oh, they would have, and but it would have been very interesting. Since it wasn't canon, that would have been a fitting ending.
Yeah.
If
But
it was
Mike-
canon, something very different would have happened. Yeah.
Mike does not roll well.
Doesn't-
I think what I got to do, Mike, is I got to write down what I want and then not tell you and just let you roll. And then I can hold it up so you know I wasn't just making it up.
Mhm.
oh, that's okay. I trust you.
Okay.
And you can trust my dice rolls to always be terrible.
That you've never failed me yet. Did you want to ask her your ridiculous question, Michael?
Oh,
Yes. So, Linda, I asked this question of almost everyone. 90% of the people, including Roe, get it wrong.
95.
Passionate about their getting it wrong, and they stick with it even after I explain why they're wrong. So here's your chance.
okay.
I want you to envision yourself going down the main drag of your city.
Philly. This is Philly, by the way.
City. Okay.
So
Any
you're in a saddle. You can be astride a griffin or a T-Rex. Which one do you choose and why?
Probably a griffin. I don't trust reptile brains. Reptile brains, they're very tricky, and they only they don't hold a thought for very long. It might want to eat me. And I have a lifelong fear of dinosaurs. I am deathly afraid of dinosaurs.
So,
So I would never ride a T-Rex.
so Cena is horribly wrong. EL is right. Tim, don't even want to talk to him. I mean, I was just on the show, so I probably won't talk to him again for a while. EL is disappointed.
I'm happy almost every episode.
T-Rex, I really do. I actually have in Sordanian a scene where they are racing two-legged lizards, which were based on T-Rexes. But but it's only a very tiny scene. But I would not ride. They have teeth. Have you
They
seen
don't run very fast because their arms don't give them any extra speed.
teeth?
Hmm.
Well, because griffins probably have teeth too, don't they?
So,
Okay.
Cena is very happy with you.
I will give you a chance to make Mike feel better.
Okay.
You've read Harry Potter?
I've read some of it, yeah. Not the. I missed a middle book in there somehow.
If you haven't read it all, never mind. I can't ask the question.
Oh, okay.
You have to have read the whole thing.
I
Have you
didn't.
seen the movies?
I saw the movies,
Oh,
All of them?
but I missed one of the books somewhere along the way.
So you've seen all the movies?
Yes.
Okay, so you know the whole
I
story.
was not a rabid fan, so but
Oh,
go,
that's fine.
maybe
you
I'll
don't need to be.
figure it out. Okay.
Who was the real hero of Harry Potter?
Probably Sirius Black.
There's an answer we haven't had before.
wow.
He was only in 2 books.
I know, but didn't he like alter everything when he did some things? I'm trying to remember what he did. He did important things.
He died.
Well, yes, but he did things before he died. But I don't remember.
He gave them the house that they used,
Mhm.
and ultimately the key to one of the Horcruxes because his brother had it.
Maybe that's it.
But
I just remember he was very important. I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. But I don't remember the Harry Potter stuff that well.
okay,
I do agree about Dobby the Elf. He was very amazing.
Dobby was a good answer. We've
Dobby
had that
was
before.
not. Maybe it was Regulus Black.
Regulus was his brother who had taken one of the Horcruxes before
Maybe that's what I was thinking.
and left a fake. But
Yeah, because like I said, I kind of read it, but I didn't really absorb it.
That's fine. You answered the other one correctly, so that's all we really care about.
I don't know if I did or not, to be honest. But it doesn't matter.
Well, for everybody watching, Mike and I are not back for a full week. So we are back next Wednesday, July 9th at 7 p.m. with R.H. Snow. And Tim McKay is right. The correct answer is Snape.
Oh, I liked him. I always like Alan Rickman, though. So.
Well, yeah, you got to like.
So, Linda, can you show us your books one more time? Because ostensibly we were here to talk about those.
Well, I'll always show my books. That's the first book, sort of.
Nice.
And it's got a beautiful cover with something glowing and powerful on it. And then there's The Keld King. That's the second book. And it has this creepy little fellow, Stefan. You'll get to know him and either love him or hate him. And this is the second stone, which I think has some of the best stuff. It's got a really cool boat on it. And that's Sword End in the background.
Yeah.
And because somebody's going to Sword End to meet Durillion, and Durillion's not going to be too happy. And then there's the God Spear. They leave Sword End and they end up in this country, which has got some really cool stuff going on in it.
Cool.
And then the last book is The Walled City. That was published this year.
And book 6 is out next year. You said April-ish.
April-ish. I'll of course let everybody know as soon as I have a publication date. But yes, it's in editing right now, so I'll be seeing those edits probably at the end of summer and start the editing process. There's always multiple passes of edits.
Yes. And what's the name of book 6?
The Real Lord.
The Real Lord. Okay, and that's going to complete the series. There's not going to be a book 7 that has to be written.
No, I could do a sequel if I want, just to because there are maybe things I can write about, or I could do a prequel. But this series stands alone by itself. 6 books.
Okay,
So it's a whole story. Yeah.
Everybody can go to triumphary.com, which has been scrolling along the bottom.
Yeah.
Or if you want to support both LL and her publisher, you can go to Forest Path Books. And this right here is just a screenshot. It scrolls around different authors, different books.
What's interesting with Forest Path is if you buy a paper book from Forest Path, you get the ebook too. You also
nice.
get the ebook. Yeah.
Nice.
You get both.
So, and we have 1 vote here. Actually, I guess 3 votes here for a prequel.
Right, you can get more than one here.
Oh my goodness. Well, I know whose story they want told.
So,
All right. Well, thank you, LL. I appreciate you joining us from Philly, and hope you're not, swamped up there with super hot weather and mugginess like it is down here.
Better than it was last week. Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
there's a vote for the sequel. So,
And our Portuguese viewer, that's something we don't get very often. So thank you, Joao. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
yeah,
next Wednesday at 7.
And thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, let us know when your next book is out.
I will.
You can,
I'll send you a picture of the cover so you can see it.
Okay, so the only thing left to do now is to wave awkwardly as we wait for the show to end on a random time. So